Live, got to get my phone set up here in this tripod. And there we go. Hey. Woo! Worked on the little piece, on the big piece. I don't know. Let's go with the little one initially. Break out the big one if things go haywire. Okay. It's got this little piece of chert. It's sort of a medium bopper. Got to get this cortex off. So first we'll chip away this edge a little bit so that I can work from the other side. Just chipping all along this edge here in order to make this platform here. You almost always work on one side, prepare one side so you can work on the opposite side. It's a little counterintuitive, but if you follow along long enough, start to make a little sense. Preparation is key. I don't know if I need to turn this up. Just in case. Starting off with something kind of small. Big flake from a previous day. Okay, now that I've got that done, I'll abrade this side. Clear off some flakes. Need more table space, you know. So I want to use this one. It's a little big, but I think I do want to use it. Nice. So I just took off that flake, which removed a whole bunch of that white cortex. It's this soft stuff here. That's all got to go. It's all got to go. So let's see. I'll hit one sort of right next to it. Oh yeah. Got all that. So now we'll try down here. Boom. And boom. Almost got rid of all the cortex already. That stuff is just not going to help. So see, there's a little bit left in these in-between spots. Here, 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 and here. No problem. Just abrade a little bit to prepare. And then I'll hit those in-between spots. Oh, that's a good flake. I can show you how that worked. So I hit right here. Boom. Took off this flake here, which has that little bit of cortex left on it. Boom. All right, so you hit down, and that knocks off a flake from... And that's this one right here. Old timer? Who you calling old timer? Huh? Young whippersnapper? All right. Got rid of all the cortex there. So now that side, a little tiny bit right there. I'll take that off right now. Boom. It's gone. So this whole edge, I've cleaned up that whole side. Side is got a bit, I do have gray hair. I got gray hair early. I'm one of those people. Both my mother and my dad gray hair early, so I was doomed. I started getting gray hair when I was 20. All right, working on this other side now. Got to get rid of this really steep edge. It's just it's not good, and you need a more slanted edge. Well, right now I am 54 years old. But I'll tell you, this year I have done some of the craziest things in my life. I can't get into the details, but don't think for a second that it's slowed me down. I'm going to use a slightly smaller bopper here. I'm just having a little trouble sneaking in there. I live in the northeast of the United States. Okay, working my way along this bottom edge, making progress over here. See that? Alaska, very cool. Thank you for tuning in. So working on this, still working on this edge. It's a little too straight up and down, a little too much of a steep angle. If you really on a side that's got a steep angle, good chance you'll break it all. Hey Zeph, what's going on? All right, too many of those hits would not be good. If it doesn't break after a couple hits, you're probably doing more harm than good. You should reconsider your approach. Okay. Boom. Okay, looking better. There we go. All right. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it. I started doing some experimenting with some software so that I can start doing a 2-camera setup. Obviously, I don't have it going now, but the plan is to have it sort of the upper portion will just be me. So when I'm speaking to you, and then the other camera is kind of coming over my shoulder so you can see my perspective. The same perspective that I have looking down on my lap, so you can see exactly what I'm doing with a bit more detail. I don't know, Zeph. I mean, we're gonna have to see. This was kind of a big flake that I picked up off the pile. Gonna have to see how it goes. Nice to make a spearhead out of it, but we'll see. All right. Yeah, we're making some inroads here. Getting rid of that steep angle. It's always sort of one of your first orders of business to get rid of any steep angle. So it's still got a bit of a ridge. But it's getting sharper, so that's good. All right, good. Gotta remember to abrade. Is this one too big? I think it is a little big. Is the sound not good? Is that what you're saying? Those are coming off nicely now. Just show you that last one. So I hit here from the top, always hitting from the top on an edge that's sloping like this, right along here. Hit right here, and boom, that's a flake like that. Well, I'll only change the mic setup if it's a problem. I just thought the 2-camera thing would be much better for showing you down here. You know, it's kind of hard to tell, and I'm always holding stuff up. which is fine, but I can't really both work on it and have you see. So just thought it might be a good thing to try. Downloaded some software. A little testing with it this afternoon. There's a couple adapters I need to, well, one adapter I need to get. And then I'll be ready to give that a try. Hey there, Wanderson. How's it going? Working on a tool here. I've kind of got that edge under control. Now I can start working it from both sides. Brazil, very cool. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Just because of the nature of the flake, it's sort of looking like it wants to be a knife blade, doesn't it? A little something like this one. Hey Robbie, I'm making stone tools. I'm the ancient craft of Flintknapping. This is one I made some time ago, a knife. This is one I'm working on tonight. Maybe it will be a knife. Hey everyone, thanks for joining. My name's Doug North. I like to practice ancestral skills, sometimes called primitive skills. And today, as with many days, I'm working on making stone tools. Hey Poland, what's up? Yeah. It could. I sure hope it doesn't, but yes, it could. Comments often bring me back to Ötzi the Iceman. You heard of him? The wet mummy that they found in the Italian Alps back in the 90s. He had an arrowhead in him. And it was a stone arrowhead. And it may be what killed him. And in terms of like, they found big old spear points, really big spear points. I don't even have one, here, but really big, long spear points embedded into the vertebrae of woolly mammoths. And so their vertebrae are huge, like this. So if stone weapons could kill a woolly mammoth, then I dare say it could kill just about anything that walks the earth. .4°F. Yeah, it's pretty cold. Not that cold here right now. It used to get that cold here in New England, but I don't know. Been awfully warm. Today was quite warm. Strangely warm. So check it out. Copper. Yeah. This is a copper bopper. It's a type of billet or baton. Traditionally, you would use antler. 4°. Yeah, sounds pretty cold there too. A couple flakes off this side. You can see this one stopped a little short. That's not great, but it's not too bad. But these went well. Just taking a look at that little step fracture. It's small. I'll probably be okay. Yeah, that's right, Seth. I say it pretty much every time I get on here because it's it always comes to mind for me in a world where there's so many different people from so many different places, and it can seem like we have in common. But stone tools, a history of stone tools, is something that we all have in common. It's kind of crazy to think about. Yeah, -4 is cold. For sure. Anytime it gets down to about, I call cold like 10 degrees or lower. I'm from Vermont, which is one of the colder ones here in the States. Definitely not the coldest, but one of the colder ones. Let's see. Not even below freezing in Oslo today. Someday I'll get there. I'll visit there. I hope. I got a little bit of a situation here. See all that? This white part of the stone, it's not as well, it's different than the gray part, and it's not as hard. And so when the force encounters it, I think the force tends to dissipate, and so the flakes don't carry through. Right, I got to go to Stavanger, visit the ancestral homeland, right? I'd love to do that. All right, I'm having a little luck at a bit of an unconventional technique. This tool is really for making the notches, but sometimes you can use it. You can find one of these steps on the edge and pry, and sometimes you can pry off some problems. Not usually the end of your troubles, but it can make the situation a lot better, and I'll take it, you know. Yeah, I'm getting off the occasional flake, just making this a little smoother. Getting rid of some of those step fractures, which will make things hopefully go a little bit better going forward. Yeah, it's a little smoother. Every little bit helps when you run into a problem like that. I'll probably grunt too. Yeah, Poland sounds a little bit like New England. But I swear it was much colder when I was a kid. Much colder. I'm just grinding a really ugly area. It should help with subsequent flakes, making them go a little bit further. I think I was talking and not paying attention, and this got really ugly on this side. Hopefully I can kind of fix it. Yeah. Yeah. So it seems to be, I mean, I haven't a scientific investigation, but among the people I've spoken to, they seem to feel that it was colder several decades ago. Oh, yeah, that whatever that gray stuff is, that white stuff, it not working with me. Well, this might be a short experiment. I might be moving on to a different piece. But we'll see if I can make some progress on it. But that means it's going to get smaller. If you're going to try and make it thinner, it's going to get smaller. It's just the two go together with this technique. Made more progress on my new video coming out soon. I'm excited about that. I think you're going to like it too. It's a really fun, actually, I'll give you a little sneak preview because you folks are my dedicated live. Look at that. My new video is going to be on this. And I'm excited about it. I'm just trimming one side so that hopefully I'm here in order to take this edge and bring it up so that when I flip it over, it'll be low so I can take off some nice big flakes and hopefully get rid of this mess. That's right, Zeph. It's a variant. So, of course, most people are familiar with this, often called the shepherd's sling. This is one I made. And this, however, is a variant that doesn't really have a proper name, though the book from which I got it, that I learned about it, they call it a sling stick. So it's different than a staff sling, which is the two-handed version, where a staff sling is basically when you take one of these, you take a conventional sling, and it's attached at one end of a stick. Let's see, I should do it the other way. It's attached at one end of a stick, and then there's like a little pin, and the loop hooks over the pin, and when you throw it, that pin slides off and throws it. So that's a staff sling. This is a shepherd sling, yes, like David and Goliath, but this is somewhere in between. The stone, it's like a giant spoon in a way with this leather strap. So up at the top here's this depression, and the stone goes in that depression, and then the strap goes over it, and then you're holding it down here with fingers, and then these two fingers hold the strap which keeps the stone in, and then throw it and let go of the strap, and it sends the rock. All of these things require a ridiculous amount of practice to get accurate with, but all three of them provide a lot of force. So if you imagine like an ancient battle, you'd have a whole, battalion of slingers, and they're able to throw stones a really long way. Before the armies have engaged, you can have these guys just throwing stones huge distances and just raining rocks or lead sling bullets down on the opposing group. It's sort of a mass volley weapon where precision, at least in that context, not all that important. That said, people with enough practice, there are people who are very accurate with a sling. I'm not, probably never will be. And with respect to the sling stick, it's the origins didn't have anything to do with warfare. It was really just a game in which the object was to throw a stone the farthest. So again, aim wasn't important. That said, I practiced a little bit the other day, and I was starting to get better in terms of accuracy. So I only gave it an hour or so. But I imagine if you grew up with one of these in your hand and pressed a lot, I think you could get accurate with it. But that's the same, like all of these things, the shepherd sling, the staff sling, the sling stick, bow and arrow, all require a great deal of practice to become accurate. So I don't think it's any different. And I've put my piece down somewhere. Oh, here it is. So as far as, so I can't find much about the sling stick, Zeph. It's just one book, really. And the author was taught by a member of the Cree First Nations in Ontario, Canada. And according to him, it wasn't for hunting. It was just basically a kid's game, a contest. So maybe other parts of the world it was used. I don't know. I can't find examples of it from other parts of the world. Conceivably, but as far as I can tell, big and chunky, and I've still got this awful bit back here. I'm trying to work this edge a little closer to, I can pop that off, but it's going to get kind of skinny. Yeah, there's really not much to a sling. I mean, this one that I made, this is all just braided jute cord. So for those of you who have tuned in recently and got the demo on how to make reverse wrap cordage, if you had enough reverse cordage, you have everything you need to make a sling. Pretty cool. I mean, and it can be wound up and put in your pocket. Like, there's nothing to it. Nothing to it. The main sections of the cord are just a braid, but done with 2 strands. So it's a total of 6 strands that make these sections. And then those divide into 3. And then traditional weaving is done for each set of 3. This set of 3 and this set of 3. So I took some green cord up and down, then come back, just weaving in and out until you get these flat strips, and then you recombine at the end and do your braid. And there you go. You've got a very strong, very effective shepherd sling. So this is something that could be made with all natural materials. We jute because it was a class and we didn't want to spend hours and hours just making the cordage. I mean, there's actually a significant amount of cordage here because there are 6 strands and then 2 additional strands of some length for these green sections. So it's a fun cordage. but very strong, and it works well. This is a material called jute, J-U-T-E, jute twine, but it could be done with just about anything. I think in some parts of the world they are made with wool. Not the most exciting thing to watch me grind, but just no D. At least the way we spell it, it's just J-U-T-E, jute. Very expensive, like utility twine. Makes a great fire starter too. All right, so I'm still pondering that. I'm almost ready to take a hit there. Hope I don't break the thing enough. I'm going to sneak up to it a little bit more by taking flakes off the opposite side. Okay, good, good. Also good. Right, so here's my problem area. But what I did was I took flakes off here. And that does, it makes my platform lower, which is better. Also weakens the area near where I'm trying to take off. So it's kind of a strategic set of preparatory hits. I might pressure flake just a little bit, just to try and make this just so before taking the risky shot. So this is a pressure flaker. It's a big long one called an Ishi stick. Ishi was a Native American from the Yahi tribe. Kind of a sad story. He was the very last of the Yahi tribe and was taken in by some anthropologists in California. And he lived out the last years of his life among these anthropologists. And he showed them much of the skills that he grew up using. He was an expert flint knapper. He was very, very good. And one of the tools that he used was something like this. Obviously, mine's plastic and copper. It's kind of a modern version, but the same idea of using a very long pressure flaker was something that he used, and that's why this is an Ishi stick today, because it was a technique that was, well, basically many of us learned from him. There's a very good book about him. If you're interested, it's called Ishi in Two Worlds. Very good. Yeah, jute's an African, just a coarse fiber. The final product is usually very inexpensive and at least easy to get here in various hardware stores. Ishi in Two Worlds. Yeah, that's the book. I'll warn you, it's a little sad, but I think it's very educational, and he's worthy of knowing about. The area where his people were from was just encroached on by Europeans, and it just got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and until their way of life really was no longer viable. And unfortunately, it's not an unfamiliar story, but of his life are a bit different, and the fact that he was the last of them. It's quite poignant. But for those people out there who feel like, you know, you've got what it takes to go out there and survive in the wild completely on your own, well, I'm not so sure. If Ishi, who grew up in that area of California, life, and was extremely skilled, extremely knowledgeable, if he wasn't able to do it, I really, really wonder if anybody can do it. I don't think there are many examples, actual examples from history of people surviving for a long period of time on their own without some sort of outside support in the wilderness. There are some interesting examples. There's usually mitigating circumstances. Yeah, Elliot, yeah, I've napped glass. Well, I mean, one example, this is obsidian, this is volcanic glass. And I've actually had half a mind to break the bottom hole for one of these live streams and make an arrowhead from the bottom. Yeah, but glass naps quite well. It's brittle, but sure, it certainly naps. It's got all the kicks we want. If you've got a source of nice thick glass, it can be a great thing to flint knap. Like if you live near like where there was a glass foundry or something and they have like excess pieces, nice big chunks, those can be great. And I'm still avoiding that one section. I just have a bad feeling I'm going to break it when I try and take that off, but I can't avoid it forever. Right up next to it. Sneak up right behind it, and then I'll grind it some more, and then I'll try and pop off that big ugly chunk. Yeah, whatever the white bit is, this stuff in here, it's just not as good quality, and it doesn't flake particularly well. Oh, no way. Yeah. Elliot, that sounds awesome. If you got some nice big chunks you can send me, I'd be interested. See if I can flip more of that off. I don't know if I can. That's a great idea, though. Stylish chunks. Yeah, I have a friend who's much better at flint knapping, and he definitely sells. I don't know them, but he does some napping of like this very colorful glass. Some of it has patterns in it. I don't know where he gets it, but yeah, he definitely does some of that kind of thing. He naps them into hearts. So if you get it like a nice piece of glass and it's napped into a heart, and then you could do like wire wrap and make sort of a nice pendant out of it. That's the kind of stuff he's done anyway. I'm sure there's lots of ideas. All right. trying to take out as many of the ridges as I can before I take a whack at that fat spot. Well, it's probably not going to get better than that. Got to go for it at some point. Here we go. No guts, no glory, folks. And I've got the broken points in the pile over there to prove it. Okay, I'm going to go for the second biggest one I have here. Get a nice steep angle. Try and support well. Okay, I got a lot of it. Right there. Got it. I'm going to hit right next to it now. So I took off a bunch here. I'm going to try for it here. Yeah, nice chunk. Actually, that was a great flake. It went all the way across. Because it's not that white stuff. It's just crumbly. This is all the gray rock in it. The flake just shot right across. That's better though. Grind. Try another hit or two. Let's see. Okay. It's looking a little better. It's looking a little better. It's definitely not going to be the nicest, thinnest thing I've ever made, but kind of just trying to salvage it into something at this point. Let's see, what do I want to do with that tip? Take some flakes off this way. So I might with the Ishi stick. Yeah, make or break happens. It's a very frequent occurrence. I find myself in that position a lot. And it's very often break. Good. Okay. Maybe one of these days I should, on the live stream, I should mount one of these knife blades to a handle for you. Yeah, sometimes I just stop working on a piece. Let's see. I feel like I did that the other day. I don't recall now, but I definitely sometimes like if I get to a nice kind of a nice biface, or this is even like this is a knife style in certain traditions. But let's say I ran into a really nasty problem and it's like kind of big and pretty thin. I might be like, well, maybe we'll just call it. Maybe that's good for now. I have to gauge my mood sometimes too. I'd be like, I broke a nice big biface yesterday and I started a second one and then I quit early because I was like, I can't face breaking another one, not two in one day. I just don't have the, some days I don't have the stomach for it, you know? And also I've started stopping at this point a lot because for a long time, I had trouble just getting to this point. And so it was an accomplishment to get to this point. But then I would keep working in an effort to take it stage and inevitably break it. And so I never even had a word of getting to this stage. And I realized that that was bumming me out because all I ended up with were these like little broken pieces of things that didn't make it to a final stage at all. So I started stopping often at this stage to sort of acknowledge the progress I have made. So I kept them around a while. And I've gone back and tried to rework some of them, only to find that I break them again. And you know, but you gotta forge ahead at some point if you want to improve. I definitely need some time with some of my mentors to get to the next level. Hoping to do some of that in the coming year. Looking forward to it. Pick up some new stuff and then I can bring it back to you. Oh, I've started a Patreon. I figure, you know, if I keep up with the live stream and some folks, you know, pick up on it and start flint napping, that maybe they want to acknowledge my help support. And I figured, well, no pressure, but might as well do it. We'll have it set up. So I've just started to get that set up. Because these are kind of like free lessons. You get to watch me do it. So I thought, well, maybe someone's going to want to do that. So I'll get it set up. Yeah, it's got a knife blade-like look to it. Maybe I will make a bit more of a tang out of this bottom portion so that it could be like into a handle like so. Into how many hours into this? About 50 minutes. This was a flake I picked up off the ground at the start today and just started working on. So not for me, not a lot of time. For some flint nappers, it wouldn't take them so long. What do I want to do? I kind of like the swept back nature of it. I got to start thinking about how I'm going to put that into a handle. Maybe about there. So I could put notches, or I could make a stem down here, and then the stem could get inserted into the antler. Actually, this antler, it's a little big, but I could cut this down a bit. Let me see. Yeah, I think this antler's a little oversized, but yeah, maybe if I antler in here. It just seems a little big, but it's possible. So maybe I'll work on making a bit of a stem out of the bottom of it in anticipation of hafting it. So I'm just going to use the pressure flaker and kind of push straight down to make short little chips. Like so. See, it's already taking a there. Maybe I'll taper off the back side, make it narrower. About the same spot. Flip it over. Repeat the process. Like that. Let's see. Up that antler again to just kind of get a feel for it. Again, I think this is a little bit. I can just run that through the bandsaw, take off maybe an inch, thin out that lump. That's kind of funky. and then boil this, and then get put right into the center portion, which gets quite soft. Just so it mounts right in there. Yeah, that might be, I just think this handle's a little big, but I can cut that down. Cut that down a smidge. Make this a little bit more pointed at the bottom, so when I press it in, it'll kind of make its own path, kind of wedge down in there. Yeah, it's always nice when I'm able to make something out of flakes on the ground. You just focus on the big pieces, and, well, you can run out of the big pieces quickly if you're not very good at it. And being able to use the so-called scrap pieces is nice. You get more tools for every piece of rock. All right, so there's a little, get my arm out of the way. There's a little tang. And I'd probably use this in, I might use this in hide glue. Not hide glue, I'm sorry, pitch glue. I could use hide glue, but I'm thinking pitch glue. See if I can just straighten out the back a little bit. Just gonna take some selective flakes. I probably won't even use the Ishi stick, just use the hand pressure flaker. Gotta remember to abrade. Let's see. A little bit extra here on the belly. Let's clean that up a little bit. Yeah, I probably should. Hafting. There's many different ways to do it, but at least show you a way. Someone asked about making pitch glue yesterday during a session. Find my little, what is this? This is a notching tool, but it's also got that kind of nice second use of, if I've got like a real small step fracture, sometimes you can grab onto the edge of it, flick it off. Sometimes. It's always worth a shot. Doesn't always work, but feels like a victory when it does work. It's grinding off some of that weird white soft material. It's like a little inclusion or something. The stone isn't hard. It's kind of crumbly. Definitely doesn't flake as well. I should make that notch a little deeper. Just a little bit more to put into the hand. Okay. Ooh, down to 2 people. My goodness. I've yet to figure out when how people discover this. I'm going to log off last night, and all of a sudden a whole bunch of people showed up. I still logged off, but I felt kind of like, oh, bad timing. Look at that. Got ourselves a not too perfect, but decent knife blade. A few more flakes off this edge. Yeah. More grinding. Hey, Dog Soldier, what's up? Good to see you again. Working on a knife blade, I guess. Just a flake I found on the, big flake I found on the ground at the start of the evening, or the session today. Just hanging out? You been working on any sculptures, Dog Soldier? Got to see one of those one day. There, got rid of a little bit funny bend in the tip. Let's see. I think this one's a little sharper. Whoa, just trying to take a little flake, breaking the tip right off. Doesn't want to go. Just a little flake. Got it. Yeah, I just kind of straightened out that very there. Cool. It's not the prettiest, but it's a flip. Trying to grind away some of that crumbly white stuff. It's just that particular spot in this stone is not very flakeable. Well, we're coming up on the new year, aren't we? Very soon. I'll try to get the new camera set up and running not too far into the new year. I think that'll help. I think it's what I would want to see. So you're not like looking down into my lap this way, you're looking over my shoulder. You're seeing what I'm seeing. I think that'll be helpful. A little bit of thickness there. I'm probably not going to sweat that though. This is a little tough to work, I will admit, because of that grainy spot. Kind of spot, and I've done my best to salvage it, but it's a little funky. I wonder if I can push off a flake from in there. I'm tempted. I'm going to try it. Hey, Ender Baby, what's going on? Good to see you again. Welcome back. All right, let's see if we can get rid of a little of that weird stuff. I'm gonna preload it. So I'm gonna push toward the center of the piece. And I'm gonna push for a while, slowly building up pressure. The idea is that you can kind of get it under tension. You can build up tension. prior to breaking it. So that when it finally breaks, boom, all of that pressure shoots into the rock and breaks off a longer flake. That's the theory. And my tool just slipped right off. Here we go. Slipped off again. I'm gonna have to sharpen this tip. Yeah, I think I do. There we go. Yeah, that worked. Got rid of some of that funky white stuff here. Yeah, that helped. Let's see if I can pull that weird flake off. Should be able to. If I can just kind of get under it. Most of it. Where's the other one? Where's the pointier one? My tools are, I've let them get a little here. Let's see. Here we go. This is Georgetown chert ender, baby. But it's got these, it's not uncommon, white inclusions, which are really grainy and do not flake as well as the rest of the stone at all. So giving me a little bit of a hard time. All just depends on the batch that you get, it seems like. Sometimes it's really homogeneous and all just nice gray stuff, and then sometimes you get this, whatever these inclusions are. Here. Right here, that stuff. So all this is nice, but then you got this stuff, which is definitely much more coarse and grain and doesn't carry the force as well. Grating rod. I'm afraid I don't know what that is. Grating rod. Curious to hear what. A file made out of, it's like a file made out of antler with hard stone in it that you can use to basically sand down the stone's impurities. Ah. Huh. No, I mean, I've got abrasive, like modern abrasive stones and stones, but I don't have anything like that. I'd like to see one of those. That sounds handy. That sounds handy. Sure that should bring more antler pieces out here. Perspective handles, you know, just so I can kind of. This thing's I think way too big, but just to get the idea. How does that compare to the other one I made? Oh, it's bigger, huh? I didn't realize. Kind of. Trying to see if there's. I don't want to lose some of that tip, but might just leave that and let it, you know, let it perk for a while. The proportions are weird, but I bet if I come back to it and take another look at it, I'll be like, oh, yeah, I see what I need to do. I see what I need to do. Well, I'm starting to get pretty hot, so I might have to think about wrapping up soon. Just decided to take a few random hits off of this thing. Looked at the edge and I was like, oh, I see some spots I could definitely go after. I don't really intend to work on this very much, but some calling to me. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I just kind of work on things a little piecemeal a little bit, especially if I don't want to start something new. Just advance the project by a little bit. Nothing too risky. Huh. That's fascinating. I am not familiar with that at all. That's really cool. I would love to see one of those. That's really interesting. Yep, you learn every day, if you're lucky. And I appreciate you sharing that information with me. That's very intriguing. That sounds like a great tool. Well, folks, as usual, as always, I appreciate you tuning in, spending a little time with me, watching flint napping, talking flint napping, or any other kind of ancestral skill that comes up. I appreciate them all, and I appreciate your support. It means a lot to me. And I'll see you again soon. Yeah, I guess it is just you, Ender Baby, but I guess I eat dinner at some point. Yeah. Take care. Take care of yourself, and I'll catch you again soon.